Hey there, all things MSP crew. We are here with Kim from Cloud Contracts 365. And I think that this is a really interesting topic because, we talk about more about the business side of being an MSP here at All Things MSP. And this is one of those things that I think is really important. Now, you told me when we were starting to talk about, kind of what you wanted to talk about, that it was kind of a journey for you to get here. So what was that journey that made you start Cloud Contracts?
Yeah, thank you, Eric. So maybe I can just start from the beginning. So I'm a New York attorney and an English lawyer, and I've been with the MSP community for 15 years. And how it started was I was working for a business that was an MSP, and I was their sole legal counsel. So I got to understand every remit of that business.
Right.
It wasn't just the legal contracts. I understood the cash flow implications. I understood when they added a product line, what that meant to their service catalog or what it meant to their customers. Everything that they needed to cover, I understood. So I became a real expert in the MSP community because I understood how they actually function and run. So through that development, I actually created a law firm called Law 365, and it's been running for about 11 years now, and it's for MSPs. Have lawyers, traditional lawyers in that firm. We do things from contracting to employment to corporate. Right. And then sort of 3 years ago, I realized that the smaller size MSP businesses couldn't really afford the legal costs, right? It's expensive. They came to us only when they absolutely needed us. You've probably heard this story many times.
Well, because that's the MSP story, right? Because so many of their clients only come to them when they absolutely have to. And it's interesting that you talked about how you got into it because you were the lawyer for an MSP and you learned their business.
Exactly.
I had a small stint where I was not working in the technology industry because I had learned from one of my clients that was in the fashion jewelry business.
Right.
I never thought I would be in the fashion jewelry business, but for about 2 years, I was the chief operating officer for a fashion jewelry business. So very similar type of story.
And the skill set that you bring to that is just immense. And so for me, I love my MSP community. I'll get my teeth stuck in there. But I understood that they couldn't really afford it. And look, there's a time and place for lawyers. I totally think that that's true. But I thought 3 years ago, how can I automate what I call low-hanging fruit work?
Right.
Which is things like building the templates, building the contract templates, MSAs, professional services agreements, NDAs, all the way through to employment contracts, corporate documents, that kind of stuff, right? So how can you automate this? And then sort of the secondary level was more like, well, they also come to us because they want to review contracts. So they have a vendor contract, or they have an enterprise client who doesn't want to accept their terms and conditions, but they want them to review their terms and conditions. And oh my goodness, this is the most dangerous part for an MSP because they have no idea what they are supposed to be reviewing. And they're going to have to spend money with their lawyers to review it properly. So could I use AI? Now, this is before ChatGPT. Could I use AI to do that as well for my MSPs? And then the third component, they came to us asking us to manage their contracts. They wanted us to get it signed for them, to store it for them safely, to tell them the summary terms of those contracts, to tell them when the renewals were coming up. That whole management piece. And I said, you don't want to get lawyers to do that. That's going to be really expensive for you.
Right.
So the challenge I set was, I knew this was the problem. How can I automate this for MSPs that are just for MSPs? And that's how I built Cloud Contracts 365.
Okay, so you've talked a little bit about how it works, but how did you actually implement that?
Yeah, it's a long story. So it takes a lot of investment to build a platform like this because it's all SaaS, it's all tech.
Right.
No lawyers necessary is our strapline. So actually, I built a proof of concept to start with to see whether this could be done. Again, this is before ChatGPT, before LLMs were a thing. We still don't use LLMs. We're completely against LLMs because they hallucinate. They're not giving you accurate details, and I can talk a bit more about that. But we use machine learning and massive legal observation matrices to fundamentally review contracts. So I did a proof of concept, and I started with an NDA. a really simple document.
Right.
And I got some data scientists together and I said, this is my challenge to you. Can you build something that's going to review this NDA and tell me where the risks are and how to push back? And we did it successfully. So then I went to the UK government and I got a grant for £500,000 to build this proof of concept, to build out. And we did this with MSAs, we did this with professional services agreements. And then we went on to going, okay, now we need to actually do contract templates too. They need to build their MSAs here as well.
Right.
And then they need to send their MSA to get signed here. And they need to get the renewal reminders. They need to get the management piece. So it kind of started with a proof of concept of a reviewer that went into this whole contract management from start to finish.
So I like the way that you addressed the AI part, because you have to use some type of AI to do this. But by limiting the scope of the AI and not using LLMs that can hallucinate, I think it sounds like you solved that problem where so many of us are using LLMs today and not getting accurate answers out of them in a business where accuracy is completely critical. It's so the critical. Whole point.
Exactly. And so many people I've actually even today and yesterday talked to, and they say, oh yeah, we use ChatGPT, it's fine, it builds our managed services, it builds all of our agreements, it reviews things. I said, well, how do you know if it's accurate? Well, we don't, but we think it is. Okay, so if you went to Google and you researched your symptom, and Google told you had a terminal disease or you had this and that, would you rely on it? Would you want to go to a doctor to check it out?
Right.
It's the same with legal. You have to be quite careful about what LLMs are, and what they're actually doing is scouring a huge data set and trying to please you. I mean, you heard about this issue in Colorado, right, where the lawyers used ChatGPT. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
Okay, I'll summarize. So the lawyers went, they were representing a client in court, and the judge, they represented a case law to the judge that didn't exist. Ooh. Because ChatGPT gave them this case law, because ChatGPT wants to please. Right. It wants to find a case law to make your case stand out. And so they thought it was real. They thought that actual case law existed.
And they didn't actually go look for it.
No. And the judge knew it wasn't real, and he debarred the whole team and said, bad on you for doing that, not upholding your professional standards to this. Now, that's lawyers doing it, so I'm sure customers are doing this.
Oh, of course.
But we know now, this is not going to hold up your business if issues come in. So how much do you care about that?
I would hope they care about it a lot, but these, small businesses in general, I'm not going to pick on MSPs, right? Frequently are trying to do things very fast, and so they do sometimes take shortcuts. So if you're not using an LLM, how are you training the AI in order to be that accurate and have the right information?
Yeah, so we use NLP, NER, and it's all on the Microsoft stack. We use everything, cognitive services, all of that, natural language programming. We basically have got a huge database that the lawyers have built. So what they've done is they've gone through every single contract type that the MSP would look at in their business, for example, master services agreement. And they say, in their experience, these are all the things that they'd be looking for in the contract that could go wrong. But also it does more than that. It looks at what's missing. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a hoarse voice today.
That happens at these shows.
Oh my gosh, it really does. They look for what's missing. So it's super proactive. It's not just saying what is there and okay, this is what you do. It's going, what should you have in there? Where are your CPOR terms, your DPOR terms, or your NCE terms? Because your enterprise client's not going to care about that. They're not going to build those terms specifically for you. And the difference is that this technology already prompts itself. You don't need to be the user that actually understands what to prompt it with. And I think this is the amazing thing about it.
And I think that's part of it too. So you're loading in the information that it needs to be an accurate contract. Yeah. But you're also building the prompts that produce the results.
Exactly.
Instead of allowing a non-lawyer, aka MSP, to come up with those prompts when they really have no idea what
what to
those
ask
prompts
it.
should.
What to ask it. No one does unless you're a legally trained person in an MSP community that understands your world through a legal lens, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is sort of the lovely thing about the platform, but it's not the only thing. The contract build tends to be the more successful piece because that's the piece that MSPs tend to use over and over because that's getting the cash flow in. That's their clients that they're getting through the door. So it's just it's a great tool from start to end.
And I think it really solves one of those big problems for an MSP that just like their clients hire an MSP to solve technology problems, MSPs need to be hiring a lawyer or a tool that mimics that lawyer that is specially built to do the job of the lawyer.
Yeah. And there are tools out there that do generic contract builders or reviews, but they are generic. They won't have things like NCE. They won't have those sort of specific terms. So I think that it's really important that they know we exist, that they know this is available, because it's very hard to find that for them.
Right.
But people are coming out now to be more specialized to MSPs and to really help them on their growth journey. And I think this is the exciting thing for an MSP right now. There's so many vendors out there that are really thinking about the MSP and their growth cycle.
Yeah, and as the MSP environment encounters more M&A, the M&A folks are very sophisticated when it comes to legal and contracts. So I think the MSP is only going to benefit more by having their house in order legally before they try and enter an M&A situation. So how does an MSP get started with cloud contracts?
So it's very easy. You can sign up online, or if you're a Pax8 member, you get a discount. So you can go through the marketplace, the Pax8 marketplace, or the Microsoft marketplace. And it's so simple. There's no onboarding. There's no setup fee. It's direct, and you can start literally building your MSA straight away. It takes a minute to do.
Awesome. So how's Pax8 Beyond been for you so far?
It's been amazing. I've loved it. The energy is really good. I loved Scott's keynote today as well. He was talking about agentic work, and it's something that now I'm considering putting into the platform to create the workflow so it's even easier for an MSP to kind of ask the agent, I just want you to do this, I want you to do this, and then it just sort of does it all for them as well. So it's been really inspiring.
The agentic thing, which is a huge theme here at Pax8 Beyond 2025, really has some great ramifications for this business. We've had cybersecurity recently, which is more risk, assessment and remediation and avoidance. But I think with AI, it plays in both, right? It's a little bit of a risk, but it's also an opportunity for the MSP to be almost, I think I heard the term bantied around, a managed intelligence provider.
I know, I love that.
And I think really when you're talking about what agentic AI can do, even in teams, it becomes very, very powerful.
And when you start to get onto that wagon, you realize that you need to be getting vendors in that are using have the same mindset about this stuff. Because how you match the customer journey, it's not just about what you're supplying to your customers, it's how you're using things internally. But they're going to actually have this feeling about this company that they are professionalizing, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak.
We've seen the same thing with IT management, transitioning into security, and now I think we're seeing the same thing with AI. So I really think those things are great, and I really appreciate what you're doing with the legal agreements and the MSPs and helping them with that side of the business that as this industry matures more and more becomes even more and more important.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you.
Have a great show.
Thank you.